Well, I'm your host, Todd Gladys. We're back, and we have with us a very special guest, Sharon Ellis, President and CEO of Habitat for Humanity here in Orange County. Sharon, so glad to come in. I know it's raining today, but so glad you were able to come in the studio and talk with us today.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to be here.
So Sharon, I know a lot of people around the country, and especially here in Orange County, are very familiar with Habitat for Humanity, but maybe some aren't. So why don't we just start and give everybody at home a little introduction about what Habitat for Humanity, especially here in Orange County, does.
Habitat for Humanity is a worldwide organization that works both here in the United States and in 70 countries around the world. We are a mission. Our mission is truly simple, decent housing. And when we look at the cost of housing in various places around the world, the cost of housing is the stumbling block for many families in really beginning to have a stable life. Habitat is truly a mission of home ownership because we really think that that stability that comes with home ownership is one that brings great value to the family in many, many different ways.
So let's talk about, so Habitat for Humanity, Orange County. What were some of the highlights, would you say, this past year? We're coming close to the holidays. Certainly the need for housing is certainly important and critical around the holidays, but looking back on 2016, what were some of the great highlights for the organization here in Orange County?
Well, one that was actually very interesting is one that we did with Home Depot Foundation, and we framed houses. Now for people across the U.S., they might not know this, but in Tustin, California, there are two huge hangars that were built during the Second World War, and they both currently exist with very little going on inside them now. So we took one of those hangars and we actually framed houses inside the hangar. And it was an amazing day. So we framed those houses and then took them apart, put them into trailers, and those will be used for the homes that we're going to be building in Santa Ana right after the first of the year. Another incredible experience was finishing the homes that we had in Cyprus. We were building 15 homes and we completed all of those. And it is just an amazing thing to see a family who has put in 500 hours of sweat equity into their home come to the dedication ceremony, and we hand them the keys and a pseudo mortgage so that the public understands that the family is purchasing that home, and then a book of faith. And it is, it's very exciting when a child comes up to you and says, my mom and dad built this house. And it's hundreds of people have helped, but what those children have seen is what their parents have done and the transformation that they are about to have for this family. And it's inspirational. Another wonderful thing was we participated in a build in Vietnam. And there were 250 people from around the world who went. And from Orange County, we brought 20. And we built homes in Vietnam. Very hot, sweaty, but again, an incredible experience of transformation.
Wow, those are some amazing moments there, Sharon, especially like you said, for the children to realize that now they have a place to call home, and certainly, as we all know, the home is where the heart is, so it really all begins there. So some fascinating, some great things in 16. What do you see in 17 and 18? I mean, obviously the vision and the strategies going forward, it can only get bigger and better. So here in Orange County, what do you see in the upcoming year?
Well, in 2017, we'll start 5 more homes in Santa Ana. We'll be completing 2 houses in Santa Ana, so a total of 7. We'll be starting another 2 homes in Tustin, another 2 homes in Placentia, and I think the incredible part of all of it is watching what's happening. And so every time we start a house, and the process of selecting families is one that is quite interesting, but those families are now doing their sweat equity. And the transformation, I think, is the thing that is the most powerful, because you watch a family when they start this process. They come in as a program family, not as a homeowner. because there are obligations that they still have to complete. They come in as a program family, they're anxious, but as they begin to work on this house with the superintendent who is there, and then all of the volunteers, they begin to grow, and you literally see them blossom in front of you. And you get to the end, and they are incredibly proud of what they have done. And the transformation to me is like watching a flower just blossom. And they get to the end, and they realize that their hard work has paid off in an incredible way. So for every house that we build, that's the end result that I think just, it makes my heart feel good. And I know for these families, for every one family that we are qualifying and providing the opportunity for homeownership, we are declining 3 to 4 qualified families.
Well, and that probably leads me to my next question. Clearly there are challenges,
Yes.
right? I mean, when we build homes for qualified families, and like you said, there are some that are left out. So, so what are, would you say, the biggest challenges for Habitat here in Orange County, or for that matter, across the country?
Well, interestingly enough, the biggest challenge here in Orange County is land, which is being replicated across the country in many of the urban areas. Land is becoming the issue. And the second is certainly funding. And that comes in a lot of different ways. That comes in certainly dollars, but it also comes in in-kind services. And sometimes people don't think, how can I help an organization like Habitat? We have the great opportunity to transform lives, but in order to do that, we need to build this house. So it's a challenge in many ways, because the land in Orange County is significant in dollars. The cost to build here is significant, but the need is here. And what I think is very frustrating for some of us is that it's not as apparent as it would be in other places across the U.S. But we recently had a family who was selected as a program family, and they had been living in a house in Orange. It was a single family home that had been divided into 4 quadrants. So there were 4 families living in that single family home with limited availability to a lot of things that we would think normal: bathrooms, kitchens.
Well, and you would think too, with the issues with home ownership and the affordability here in Orange County, frankly, right, with single family homes and the inability to somehow get qualified for a loan, and interest rates rising, and of course the crash of the market a few years back, certainly a lot of banks and lenders do take in REO from time to time. I mean, I would suspect that's got to be an option available too as well. I'm sure in asking and certainly seeing with the banks if there is any particular inventory that they may have available. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. We would love to have that conversation. Any bank that would like to talk to us about
Sure.
properties that they think would be a good match for Habitat, we would be thrilled to have that conversation.
Well, let's switch gears to veterans, because I'm a veteran. There's certainly a lot of veterans here in the company and the organization, of course, certainly in Orange County. And we at auction.com and 10X have certainly, I think, partnered with you guys to work on a property in Fullerton. We had some folks out last week, and in January we'll be back. And so tell us a little bit about that opportunity in Fullerton and the whole, I guess, the support for veteran builds as well for Habitat.
Well, I will start at the beginning. We built a development down in San Juan Capistrano, and we were the first affiliate in the United States to actually build and market to the veteran community. Veterans could always have applied, but there was never a great effort to really present that as an opportunity in the community. And so of those 27 homes, 11 of those were purchased by veterans. Since then, every development that we have done, we truly do market to the veteran community, because we feel, as you do, that it is an important segment of our community. The development in Fullerton is kind of interesting. It is the home that we are working on right now is doing a few things. This is an experimental house for us in many ways. It is meant to be a next generation house. So the idea was that a veteran who either needed maybe assistance of one kind or another, maybe a caregiver, or someone who was older and they wanted to live with their veteran children. So it's kind of a unique thing for us. The other unique thing about it is that this will be a zero net energy home. So the regulations in California will mean that in 2020, every house built will have to be a zero net energy home. So we're a little bit ahead of the curve, and we're experimenting with some things that we think might be helpful or useful for our families. So we are very excited about the opportunity to kind of share the technology within this home, but it is truly not a traditional habitat model.
Sure, sure. Well, especially for a veteran who, like you said, needs either care or they want their relatives to stay with them. That is a very unique property, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. So what are the details there as far as the groundbreaking on that home in Fullerton?
We anticipate we'll have that one done in March. So March, April, sometime in that time zone, we would do the dedication.
And if there are other veteran families or those that perhaps wish to take a look at being qualified for this property, I know that process is still open, is that correct?
Yes, it is. Families, that is a low-income home. So families' income needs to fall into the HUD regulations of low income for Orange County. So for a family of 4 at the 50%, I don't want to get into too many details because it gets complicated. Sure. It varies by the number of people in the home. And so a family that is making a minimum of $45,000 would be a candidate. So the things that families need to think about are debt to income ratio. They have to be employed. They need to be a veteran with that third generation somehow or caregiver somehow linked into their family structure. And they're going to be putting in sweat equity. And it might be on this home, we would hope, right, and then on another property that will be built. But they are responsible for 500 hours. And the question has come to us sometimes, well, what if someone is injured or has a disability that could limit their capacity to work on the site? Mm-hmm. We have ways to resolve that. We have other things that families can do to meet that obligation.
Power drills. You can sit on a chair and use a power drill. Yep. So and certainly get those backs working and get out the Advil, I'm sure. So that is fantastic, Sharon. Well, I guess the million-dollar question, veterans or folks that would want to apply, how do they do that? How do they contact you guys at Habitat in Orange County if they wanted to apply?
The easiest way is to go to our website, www.habitatoc.org, and make sure when you do that it's Orange County, California, since there are a couple of Orange counties across the U.S.
I know there's one in Florida. I think that's where Disney World is.
And there's one in North Carolina. So we often will hear from somebody and they think they're talking to somebody in North Carolina. We have to kind of correct them.
Sure. Well, Sharon, this has been fantastic information. We really appreciate everything that you here in Habitat for Humanity in Orange County do. Us at auction.com and 10X are happy to continue to support what you guys are doing. Sweat equity, a lot of Advil, a lot of nails and hammers, and frankly just time and getting out there and supporting our veterans and our families, because like you mentioned, the home is where it all begins for our children and getting these families the support they need. So really appreciate the time, and you are certainly welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your involvement with us. We truly do.